Hi guys, so I'm just going to talk to you about why free range dairy is a waste of money and how it harms cows. So the first thing is that free range dairy really doesn't have much impact on the animals' lives. 85% of the dairy in the UK is actually free range anyway. So this means that cows spend 6 months of the year outside and they spend 6 months of the year indoors. So really when you're buying free range dairy, you're just buying something to make yourself feel better. It doesn't have much of an impact on the animals' lives at all. And there are a number of issues with free range dairy anyway, which are quite horrendous. The first thing is the fact that male calves are actually killed at just a couple of months old. And they're killed at just a couple of months old because they can't grow fast enough to produce beef and they don't produce milk. So they're often actually tied up and you know in a small shed to produce veal for people. The other issue is the fact that female cows are constantly kept pregnant. And this causes a number of issues. One issue is actually artificial insemination itself. Artificial insemination itself is basically where they get a metal rod. They get their hand and stick it up the cow's bum, and they get a metal rod and stick it up the cow's vagina. And this actually often causes them to have things like, like it can puncture the vagina, it can cause them bruising and that kind of thing. So it's quite a horrendous practice itself. But they do get a number of health issues from being pregnant and while being milked at the same time. These actually include lameness, and lameness is actually caused by the fact that the cow's on its feet all the time. And the cow's on its feet all the time because it needs a hell of a lot more calories because it's breastfeeding and milking at the same time than it normally would in the wild. So this means that it's more likely to get fractures in its hooves due to standing on its feet all the time. The other issue is mastitis, and mastitis is actually caused by the fact that the machines that pump the milk out the cow can actually cause like bruises and fractures in the cow's teeth, and this can actually become infected, and the cow will actually become very ill, and whether the cow gets mastitis or lameness, it will be killed off. The cows are actually normally killed off at 6 years old when they live up to 20 years in the wild, and this is either due to lameness, mastitis, or just the fact that their production's declined. One of the most terrible practices I've heard about that happen to dairy cows, and this includes free range dairy cows, is the fact that about 25% of them are killed while pregnant, and 1/8 of cows, and an eighth of cows, are actually killed while they're pregnant in the 3rd trimester. So this means that basically the cow and the calf will get killed. Some of the cows which are actually in the 3rd trimester, some of the cows which are in the 3rd trimester actually give birth on the way to slaughter, and both the calf and the cow are killed. So it is very sad. I think the best thing that you can do is buy plant-based milk as opposed to free-range dairy milk, and it's estimated that free-range dairy milk is going to be 90p per litre. The cheapest plant milk you can buy is actually 59p per litre, so it's actually much cheaper. So I would definitely try and switch to a plant-based milk if you're concerned about animal welfare, as opposed to going for free-range dairy.